Hello, and welcome to Illustrate to Educate. You've come to the right place for simple and objective videos on topics that matter. Have you ever wondered what is the Green New Deal? The Green New Deal is a plan to rapidly switch to clean energy in order to combat the effects of climate change. The Green New Deal is not a clear policy proposal in and of itself. Instead, it refers to a 14-page resolution. It lays out a series of goals and principles and then leaves it to lawmakers to figure out how to meet them. Why is it named the Green New Deal? The Green New Deal calls for a new national, social, industrial, and economic mobilization on a scale not seen for nearly 100 years. In 10 years, it hopes to move to renewable energy for electricity and make transportation, housing, agriculture, and manufacturing more energy efficient. The Green New Deal imitates the original New Deal, which was a series of programs and projects instituted during the Great Depression in 1933 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt that aimed to restore prosperity to Americans. The goal of the Green New Deal is to create millions of new jobs in clean energy and get to net zero emissions by 2050, not only in the US but around the world. What else is part of the Green New Deal? As part of this process, the resolution calls for a fair and just transition that would 1. Provide help to workers affected by the shifting economy, 2. Protect communities impacted by the direct effects of climate change, and 3. Pay attention to groups that have been affected by pollution. It also includes a series of general demands for universal health care, affordable housing, good-paying jobs, and stronger labor rights. So why do supporters want it? Supporters of the Green New Deal have made the case that governments have become complacent to the evidence that the world needs to move quickly toward clean energy. A group of scientists from the United Nations warned that nations need to take unprecedented action to reach a net zero emissions by 2050 to head off a global 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in temperature. Any increase above that could be especially dangerous, bringing more natural disasters, heat waves, drought, and flooding. Supporters also point to reports that show economic losses costing hundreds of billions of dollars a year, and that the concentration of carbon in the atmosphere was at its highest in 800,000 years, and global temperatures were at near record highs for the modern era. Green New Deal supporters argue that the scale of the problem requires massive coordinated action across the government and private sector, and that by tackling the issue as soon as possible, the changes can be implemented in ways that would benefit Americans by creating jobs, providing cleaner air and water, and expanding the safety net. Lastly, if we act too slow, it could require more drastic and impossible solutions. So what do critics say? One complaint is that it creates unreasonable expectations by demanding a rapid shift toward net zero emissions that some climate and industry experts argue is beyond current limitations. Others say the Green New Deal complicates the debate around climate change policy by linking it to other issues like healthcare and employment guarantees. Also, critics dislike its emphasis on direct government investment and should instead incentivize the private sector to change on its own. Critics in states with significant fossil fuel industries have called for more research into technologies that offset the effects of their pollution, such as pushing for more natural gas production, arguing it can replace dirtier fuels like coal while renewable energy gets off the ground. Lastly, proposals like the Green New Deal that plan to raise oil and heating prices by taxing and restricting fossil fuel usage have only a limited effect even if they succeeded, as the United States makes up only 15% of global emissions. So what are candidates proposing? Many of the candidates have released proposals for $1 trillion plus investment in energy infrastructure like electric car charging stations and building upgrades, as well as research into new technology like carbon capture or cheaper solar power, and funds to help displaced workers. Plans often include funding to help communities prepare for future natural disasters as well. Now you're equipped to join the conversation and decide whether you support the Green New Deal or support other alternatives to helping solve the climate change issue in the world. Did you enjoy this video? Please like the video and subscribe to Illustrate to Educate by clicking on the button below, ring the bell for notifications, and check out some of my other videos by clicking on the links to the right.